much, Mr. Leroy.
Oh,
and
God,
I'd like to thank everyone.
I'm so
watching at home.
terrified.
Most people watched the debate and thought it'd be meaningless, but I completely disagree. All the candidates massively actualized some of the things they had to do in the debate stage, but they also completely fell on their face in a way that severely hinders their campaigns. So sure, it seems like no one won, but it'll be very interesting to see what the polls and what the voters think of this concoction of occasional mess-ups and occasional big wins in the next few days. But let's review the candidates. First up, Mark Carney. You might be wondering why I am in a car. I went to a friend's house so I could canvass for the Liberal Party. I don't have my studio with me, as you can clearly tell, but I am the hardest fucking working man on the planet. All right, in 2 hours, in the freezing Winnipeg fucking temperature, I walked 15,000 steps and knocked on 40 fucking doors. You cannot stop me. So far, the biggest win carrying Carney's sail has been the Trump issue. On this issue, he seems like the best to tackle it in the eyes of the Canadian people, and so far that seems to be the case. The issue itself, though, is dropping in importance in the eyes of the voters. Probably because Trump has stopped threatening us. Probably because Carney handled it so well, but whatever. So for Carney, what he has to do is keep Trump in the conversation and still seem like the strong person in the room ready to defend Canada. I do think that Trump was mentioned a lot in this debate, but I don't think that Carney came off as strong as I would have liked maybe. Kind of sounded like he was waffling, and it just didn't look good to be the first one on the debate stage to say, let's not do dollar for dollar tariffs, in my opinion. Overall, in this issue, he didn't really handle it the best, but in my opinion, I think he handled the next one perfectly. In this debate, it was critical for Carney to seem like the parent in the room. He had to come off as the capable parent in the room. He couldn't come off like he was too angry, and he could not start interrupting. Ever. For the love of God, he could not come off angry when it came to questions about his Brookfield connections. If he came off as angry in this, it would be over for him. On this matter, he made everyone look like the child in the car that he was like 6 seconds away from turning right around. Except in one matter where Carney seemed competent, but definitely not in control. To all the millions of Anglophones that surprisingly care about Mark Carney's French, it was fine. It wasn't on the level of the absolute pussy magnet Yves Blanchet, but it was fine. Especially for where he was like a month ago. Actually, compared to that, it's incredible. I think everything else Carney did great on. He made Pierre look crazy a few times, talked about the notwithstanding clause, which, despite what biased conservative propaganda machines tell you, Canadians probably really don't like their rights being taken away. And finally, Carney had to make a play for the cost of living, housing, growth, and broader economy vote, and solidify his slight lead, which I think he did. Poilievre did okay for the debates, but I think broadly he did worse than Carney. And if you want some proof, I can back that up like immediately. After the debates happened, Polymarket, I know, liberals, calm down a little bit, okay? I love you, but please chill a little bit. On Polymarket, Poilievre went from, On Polymarket, Pierre Poilievre went from a 30% probability of becoming prime minister down to a 23% chance. But despite what all the conservatives were telling you, this did not turn out as a Pierre Poilievre blowout, unfortunately. More of a crash out, if anything. And by the way, exactly like I predicted, Suck My Dick, The Dan Freeman Show, and Elevate Podcast, Eat My Fucking Nuts. Why did he actually lose? Typically speaking, I think Pierre Poilievre's objectives before heading into the debate were, don't ever utter Trump's name. Unless you want to completely trigger the base, come out against him completely, and say you want to kill him. Or unless you want to fuel the base and piss off every other Canadian, you shouldn't even be mentioning this guy's name. He's Voldemort to you. What Poilievre had to do was stick to the issues and Mark Carney like glue. Obviously, Mark Carney is smarter than Pierre Poilievre on the economy, but that doesn't matter if you can just seem like you care more about the economy. And broadly, I think there was actually a few times when it came off like Pierre Poilievre cared more about the economy and average everyday working people, which is a winning strat. However, I don't think it was enough to eke out a victory on this topic, which he desperately needs. But one of the big things that Pierre Poilievre had to do was he had to seem mature, and he had to not shit-sling at Mark Carney. He didn't do that. Obviously, he is the opposition, so he can oppose him, but he has to do that in a mature way that doesn't seem like shit-slinging. You can oppose Carney without interrupting him. You can attack him without jumping a floor down and trying to pull Carney down after. This is going to side note. I don't actually think he should go on the attack. I think he should just stick to the policies and the issues. But he can do this in a way that doesn't seem bad to voters. But if he wants to attack Carney, that's fine. Don't attack Trudeau. Whatever the fuck you do, don't do that. This happened in the Trump-Kamala debate, and it made him look crazy and like an ex that couldn't move on. Pierre Poilievre fell for this bait, and it gave Mark Carney this clip.
You looked at the camera in the eye and apologized to the many people who suffered
as a result of the inflationary policies that you advised Justin Trudeau to implement?
You know, I said earlier, but I'm going to say it again. I know you want to be running against Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau isn't here.
Are you denying you were his economic advisor?
I did not provide any of that advice.
That man isn't angry. He's disappointed. These two will continue to clash, and I think that the remnants of these past few days will most likely come from these two. But that being said, let's not forget about the side characters. Woohoo! Yippee! Yeah! All right, first one up, the Green Party. Now, what Jonathan Pedno had to do was Anyway, whew! Thank God we had that long, in-depth conversation that was just so nitty-gritty in all the details and just so analytical. I really am so smart. Thank you for listening to my astute political analysis. I appreciate it. Jagmeet Singh. I don't know what else to say for Jagmeet. It's just over. It's over for him. He can't win. It's Jover. It is officially Jag over. So that being said, this section will not be about Jagmeet Singh. It will be about the broader NDP party and what they have to do. Not just potential leaders, but this goes to former, current, and future NDP voters as well. Steve Boots has this criticism of the NDP that they don't have any good plans or they don't have any good policies, and that is completely true, by the way. And also, I expect that exact fucking criticism from Steve Boots. But like, respectfully, Steve, sometimes, I mean, we don't really give a fuck about all that. Like, we don't really give a fuck about... The last time the NDP was, like, actually a powerful force in Canada was when they clearly just found the man with the largest cock in Parliament and made them the party leader. This man is fucking ginormous. You know that mission in GTA 5 where Trevor, like, flies to fucking North Yankton and, like, digs up Brad's old body? If I went to go and check where Jack Layton's final resting place was, there'd be a part of the fucking casket sticking out of the ground or on the halfway point of his body. That's how large this man is. The NDP doesn't do well when it tries to out-liberal the Liberals. And it really doesn't do well when it tries to out-liberal party the Liberal Party. Listen to me. Separate yourself from other political parties. Do not be a charismatic politician. Just be charismatic. The NDP is currently the most disgusting, disorganized party I have literally ever seen. I wrote something long here. I gotta read it from the laptop. Lulling in minorities, the disenfranchised, the discriminated, and the people with no voice with the false sense of hope that you will do whatever you can to protect and stand up for them until the exact moment you have to stand up and protect them is actually nastier than anything Pierre Poilievre has currently ever done. You're fucking disgusting. Like, who gives a fuck that you spoke to an OnlyFans girl? What I'm trying to get at is, if the NDP wants to be a bad political party, there are actually ways to do that. If you want to max out on charisma, that's fine, and it's doable. I do think the NDP was like a decently run party when Jack Layton was the leader. Saying you voted for the NDP when Jack Layton was leader because of their expertly crafted policies and their, like, competently run platform is like saying the thing you like the most about the girl with, like, boobies bigger than semi-truck tires is her fucking eyes. Like, give me a fucking break. Are her eyes nice? Sure. I love blue eyes. Or fuck, were they brown? Wait, were they green? My point is, if you want to be a better party and have good policy, that's fine, do that. If you want to have a vibe-based party and have the only party that is cool to support, fine, do that. But this weird in-between state has run its course, I think. I just want to give some, like, I don't know, an alternative path for the NDP than, like, listening to Steve Boots. I like Steve, but I think there is a way that maybe the NDP could not focus on having good policies that might take them forward. What I'm saying is Steve Boots doesn't do a good job at capturing the idiot vote well enough. He's horrible at that. That all being said, actually talking about Jagmeet Singh, he did horrible. He did fucking horrible. He came off like a politician. He was scared to offend literally anybody, so much so that he completely waffled on the simple question, do you support more oil drilling? How you don't answer that question clearly, as the leader of the New Democrat Party, is wild to me. He barely spoke, yet he somehow interrupted more than fucking anyone else. Jagmeet, thank you so much for all your work as a liberal operative when it comes to blowing the fucking NDP to smithereens. In freezing temperatures, in Winnipeg, by the way, I knocked on 40 doors, and in 2 hours, I got in 15,000 steps, all to increase the odds of a liberal candidate that was probably going to win. And I will literally never be able to be a better liberal than Jagmeet Singh. Jagmeet Singh, enjoy your retirement. Thank you. Or should I say merci beaucoup? All right, we're talking about Yves now. Yves has Jack Layton energy. You cannot convince me this man isn't abso-fruitly drowning in pussy. Yves succeeded in this debate by somehow resisting the ungodly urge to whip out his fucking whale in the middle of the debate, all while Jagmeet Singh was interrupting Pierre Poilievre just for when it is his turn to speak to waffle like a fucking third grader. There was this one time he just completely fucking derailed the debate by all of a sudden he just looked like a fucking deer in headlights, and he looked at the moderator and he asked the moderator for help with an English word, and then when the moderator gave him the English word he was looking for, he just didn't fucking use it. All this guy had to do was keep saying the word Quebec, and he did that in style. This man won the debate. This man won every debate. He will win every debate. The only guy who has the absolute stones to go up on stage and comfortably remind every Canadian he does not want to be prime minister. That man does not give a flying fuck whatever qu'est-ce que tu fucking think.